This is an interview with Glen, a Masterclass graduate. An interesting background. We started talking about maybe 6+ months ago, but seriously, we've been doing this for 5 months. And then now, Glen has finally landed a job last week, I think, right?
Yep, coming up to about 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then tomorrow you have already been onboarding, and then tomorrow you're officially starting the work. So let's start off with that. A bit more about your position in the new company that you're joining.
Yeah, absolutely. So my position will be a junior front-end engineer. This company in particular was quite refreshing because they told me they really believe in hiring juniors and developing juniors. And I know at the moment things can be quite tough for juniors to land positions. So I was really grateful for that. But yeah, they're a company from Belgium who actually contacted me through LinkedIn. And I think they've seen that I'm familiar with a lot of the tech that they use. So yeah, they got in contact, and really from the first interview and each subsequent interview, things just went so well. So
yeah, that's amazing. So you shared this website with me. I think you can see it on the screen, right? A cocktail corner. This was actually your assignment task that you had to do for the position, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, the actual design I was given didn't really look anything like this. It was just like it was just like each card, but everything was really unstyled. You know, it had the picture, it had the name, but that was kind of it. And there's also, I added some additional things here as well. For example, there's additional filters. If you go towards the top of this here where it says all drinks, you can click and you can filter. So I decided to add some sort of extra functionality just to make the most use of this endpoint. Essentially, the task was they gave me this API to consume, which is this free API, cocktail API, and then was to make this site from it. And then each drink has its own page for more information about that drink. So
and you did this in about 1 to 3 days max, right? It's 3. Let's be honest. This is super simple. So please compare it to the projects we worked within the Masterclass for me.
Yeah, I would say this is like a much smaller, much simpler version of that. I would say the similarities and the parallels are very clear, because in this project I had to, start from the very beginning of the project and build it and deploy it. So I had to go through the whole process, build and create a backend, create a front end, use the API. This is like a scaled down version of what's being done in the Masterclass. So this took 3 days. And to be honest, the third day was really just a lot of, like polishing and things like that. So this was, compared to the Masterclass, yes, very, very simple. And the Masterclass prepared me so well for that. I think had I not done the Masterclass, this would have been I wouldn't have been able to do this. It would have been a lot of new things.
And the tech stack, as you said, almost the same, right?
Yeah, that's right. So the tech stack the company uses Next.js, TypeScript. They also use Zustand, Tailwind as well. I believe they use another CSS library as well as Tailwind, but I've seen Tailwind, ShadCN. So yeah, really all the things we used in the course. So it really couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you joined the Masterclass about 6 months ago, I think. And what were you doing then?
You mean before the
Masterclass started? What was the decision that you want to become a developer?
Yeah, so I probably I wanted to go into programming probably about a year before I started, but my background before that was so different from anything to do with IT. I was in construction and I worked as a builder for about 12 years. So I always joke about this. Like I actually initially started studying Java. The only reason I did that was because I just typed programming into Udemy, and the first one that came up was Java, and I knew that Java had something to do with programming. So that's why I started learning that. About 6 months after that was when I started I learned more, and I learned about front-end development, and with my background that appealed to me a lot more, because of the visual, working from a design, etc. But to be honest, all the courses that I did back then, I got the feeling that everything we learned wasn't really in context. Everything was so separated and so segmented. And what I mean by that was, we might have a section about an Express backend, for example, but we're really not seeing how that works in context with the rest of the application. And because of that, what I noticed was, when I tried to build a React application on my own from the beginning, I couldn't even get started. That's what it felt like. I felt like I knew these things, but I had no idea how to apply them. And then Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's fragmented, right? It's just pieces of a complete puzzle. Let's put
Hmm.
it that way,
Exactly.
and very small pieces, right?
Hmm.
That of specific things that as concepts that you don't even know whether you should learn, and there's a lot. So the problem with web development, from what I understood, is not that there's not enough resources, is that there's too many resources. So there's many rabbit holes you can go into, and as a beginner, you don't know which ones you should dive deeper into, which ones should you avoid, and what exactly should your path look like, right?
Exactly. Hmm. Exactly. It felt, and that's exactly the feeling that I got was, I don't even know where to start. I didn't understand the different programming languages, different kinds of programming. I just thought programming was programming,
Yeah.
and it's unbelievably daunting for a beginner. But it
Well,
was actually,
you did a full 180, right? From construction, I think you mentioned a flooring specialist for about 10 plus years, and then you switched over and became a developer in about more or less a year span, right? Which is a crazy change.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it was yeah, a little bit different from what I'm used to, but at the same time, I really feel like a lot of the skills I needed to do this, I'd already developed, like especially when it comes to discipline and being able to focus for a long time. Because in my old work, you might have, a 10-hour stretch where you really have to be focused and really have to, keep your eye on the ball and check for little details and things like that. So I really feel like, yeah, most things like this, as long as you have the right work ethic, you can really apply it to anything, I believe. And I think, yeah, doing construction taught me a lot, and definitely taught me the discipline to do well in this.
Hmm. And tell me, will the new position be remote or is it in person?
It's fully remote. Yeah, it's exactly what I was hoping for. Because
That's a complete difference again from your past job, and
yeah,
I'm guessing since you wanted that, that makes a big difference
yeah.
in your work as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's exactly what I wanted, and it was a big part of. It's actually really one of the biggest reasons I went into this industry was that I wanted to. I used to have to drive sometimes 5 hours a day for work, and
Oh my God! Yeah,
before and after work, that's
yeah.
that's including the work. So that's a big part of wanting to do something like this. And I've got, I've got a young daughter and I've got another kid on the way. So I really want to be at home and be able to help and be present as much as I can.
It makes a huge difference, right? I mean, traveling to work, it's still a night out when you're beginning to enter the car and travel, and then you come back 6 p.m. When you come back, it's already night again.
Yeah,
You're drained, and then again you have a couple of hours to spend with the family before you go to sleep, right?
exactly. It's not the life that I wanted, really, and I was willing to. I kept reminding myself of that, and I think that's also part of what motivated me to land a job here.
Yeah, you had a lot of inner motivation as well. Would you say that the masterclass and specifically the mentors played a bit of an external role when it came to the drive and
Mhm.
consistency to keep you going?
Yeah, definitely. For a few reasons, really. One thing I really noticed from the mentoring was that there was a lot of like minor technical things that I learned, but then there was also, I suppose, the bigger picture things that
Yeah,
I kind of see, which came to like, I believe you mentioned it in a video of yours before, when you're working with Next.js as opposed to React, learning about the paradigm to fully embrace and maximize the use of the server in
yeah.
user operations. When I had mentors kind of explain the bigger picture things to me, it really helped things click a lot. And then on top of that, seeing really skilled developers, it really makes me think, one day I would love to have that kind of skill, love to have that kind of ability and confidence. So yeah, it's I would say on many fronts they really helped.
And can you tell me a bit more about your mentor specifically that you were
Yeah,
working with?
yeah, of course. So the mentors I worked with most was probably Matteo.
Yeah,
It's the end. Yeah, he was my main mentor, and yeah, I learned more from him than anyone else for sure. He's a brilliant programmer, and then on top of that, he has the gift of being able to explain things in a way that he understands I'm not at his level, so he can explain things in a way that I get.
yeah.
And that I think is so important, because some people who are really gifted at things and really amazing at things are not necessarily very good teachers. But with him, yeah, I noticed the biggest difference in just the way I approached programming and the way that I understood the different paradigms within JavaScript, React, Next.js when I started working with him. And on top of that, it was, as I say, it was also just inspirational as well to watch somebody that skilled. I'm like, I would love to have that kind of ability one day, you know. But
Yeah,
so
amazing. Amazing. That was also a big premise of the masterclass in general, to have somebody that is an expert in the field, to have them teach you, right? You can learn so much more and so much faster that way.
oh yeah, for sure.
And let's talk a bit about the projects you have developed within the masterclass. I am looking at your portfolio right here, and it looks great. I remember when you did this SVG animation right here on the right side.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, it looks professional. You get your email here. Nice looking animations, very simple, sleek, right? Sometimes people tend to overdo the animations, but this is very nicely done. Services, developer experience right here, and then featured projects.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about that. I can see that you added your cocktail corner right here.
That's right.
And for each project, of course, there's a lot of testimonials and everything that we have collected from the masterclass right here, which is amazing. But what we teach in the masterclass about the portfolio is a bit different how a typical developer might approach creating a portfolio. What were some of the takeaways for you when you were creating this portfolio?
Yeah, I think, yeah, for me, there was a lot of, because this was really a mainly front-end task. Like we used the content management system, but really compared to the other projects, this was very front-end based and very visual based. Because one thing I've noticed is that when people look at my portfolio, the reaction tends to be is how it looks. It's not necessarily the functionality or things behind the scenes, etc. People want to know, people are brought in by how something looks. And if there's one thing that I got kind of emphasized to me in the masterclass and told by people as well, was that if your sites don't look good, if there's just a little something that's off in terms of the UI, it doesn't matter how well it works, people will be put off by that, and people will potentially not want to use you. So yeah, I got a lot of really good feedback and a lot of good criticism from this.
This is amazing, has the dark mode as well. And then the case studies too, which is something that developers don't typically put with the source code, demo sites, technologies used, and the entire process that you went through when creating this. This is what companies are after, right? They want to know how you approached it, what challenges you had, and what did you learn, and how you can use those skills within their company.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really nice way of presenting, and this is something that I've used as well, this kind of format when I worked on my task for the company. I tried to do the same sort of thing here. So I don't want to just show a project, I want to show everything that I've learned whilst doing it and everything that I've applied.
Oh, and I pulled this up as well. Let's look at your resume for a second here. I can see that as education, you put the masterclass right here, and then you put the projects that you worked on within the masterclass. The portfolio project was definitely front-end heavy. It's supposed to be, but then there were 3 additional projects that you worked on within the masterclass, each heavier and tougher to do than the other. A job finding application, an online booking system, which is I think a full stack, definitely a full stack application. Yep. And then finally a full stack social media platform that is just, again, looks great based on a Figma design. And then also it has a ton of features. Can you tell me a bit more about one of these projects?
Yeah, for sure. I suppose probably go for the big boy. I'll go for the capstone project, which was Node. So yeah, this was a 3-month project, whereas the previous 3 projects were all 1 month each.
Yeah,
I feel like the 3 previous projects were kind of preparing us for this final boss. This was a big one. This because this was just way more complex. And was just a lot more hard work than the previous one. So yeah, this was a full stack social media site, and with anything like that big, there's so many different technologies and so many new things we had to learn. And also being that size, we really had to get our actual, the way we organize our code, the way we structure things, and the way we work together in a team. These are things we really had to dial in, because that was a big step up, because that's the other side of it as well, is that we're working in a group of, I believe we started as a group of 5, and then we ended up with 4 of us.
correct.
So, learning that as well. That's something I think not to be understated through the masterclass as well. Because when we were doing it, when we did this, we were working in a group. Which obviously, when you go to work with a company, that's how things are going to be. So, not stepping on each other's toes and listening to feedback and things like that. Really valuable skills.
There's of course benefits and drawbacks of working with a team. You learn a lot, but yeah, I mean, looking at this, I also am going to pull up one more thing, and that is your LinkedIn. So yeah, I mean, with the portfolio, LinkedIn, and then GitHub, which we can check out later on, this is what you had, and this is what you went out with to employers, and this is what they've seen. Did you get any feedback or any information from people that hired you on what stood out the most when it came to you specifically as a developer?
Yeah, for sure. I think what stood out the most was probably the performance that I did for the task that they gave me. Like, and also the nature of everything. Because when I gave them the task, I presented everything. I didn't just give the task. I also gave the GitHub repo, which had a really in-depth README and things like that. So I could send you a link to that if you would like.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I pulled up your GitHub right here, and creating those GitHub READMEs for your project is also something we worked on within the masterclass, right? I am so happy that the things that we worked on actually translated into the real work experience, which is what we're all about, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's exactly that. The way I see it is covering every single base possible, and then any potential employer, I really want them to feel anything that they see, they're going to, exactly. I'm not going to let myself down anywhere. I'll send you a link now if you'd like to the one I did here, because I was really happy with this one. It looks like I am missing a picture on my personal README. I have the alt tag at the moment, so I have to address that. So, but yeah, this was the source code here, and this was I really wanted to.
I just opened up the project that you've shared with as the assignment task with the company, and there's the README. And based off of this banner at the top and the headings and everything, installation usage, all of this feels quite familiar to what we have done within the masterclass, right?
Exactly.
I'm going to assume that even if they had other people applying for the same role, which I'm sure they did, because right now we're in a very tough spot when it comes to getting that first junior role, just due to the layoffs and everything that's been happening. I am certain that they haven't gotten a repo README as structured as this one you've sent. And this matters to developers because this shows that you're not just about coding, you're actually thinking about other people and companies and how they can install the project, how they can use it, what it is all about. I mean, this is pretty crazy. I even see you use some either AI images or maybe you found someone on Google, but this is great.
Yeah, no, I really tried to cover all bases. README was something I didn't even think about until it was kind of pointed out to me at the masterclass. In my head, I kind of thought it was kind of like an afterthought, and I didn't really fully understand what they did. But now I can really appreciate how something like that could be the difference maker. That's see it.
Oh yeah, all of these things, about section, the live URL, the deployments right here. I can see preview and production, even the commits and looking just at the commit messages as well. This is maybe not something you expected I will look into right now, so maybe you're scared what I will find. I'm sure that if people go through my commits, they will find some badly worded sentences. But this looks very structured, and I'm glad this looks like that. So this also brings me to the pull request reviews we've had within the masterclass, which maybe helped with the way you're forming commits or even opening up pull requests.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to structure everything as well as possible, and I was really trying to have each pull request just to cover one specific thing. It's very at the beginning of the masterclass, I was definitely guilty of going a bit crazy and putting in a 1,000-line PR covering many different things, which but no, I got to kind of family put in my place about that, and just learn to just structure things a lot better. It makes things so much easier if I need to revert, if I need to go back to a previous version, then I can do that, and not make them too big either. Just try to, each PR will have multiple commits. It just helps me helps me
And
perceive things.
and just looking at this GitHub commit graph, we can see exactly when you got serious about wanting to land a developer job, right? So it
Yeah.
was July, mid-July 2023, and then
Hmm.
you were doing a lot of coding. You joined the masterclass, and then basically you've been doing some more work. This is mostly career search and stuff like that, so it is a bit less active. You've been doing prep work and just finalization,
Hmm.
but you have actively been developing basically from July to maybe December,
Hmm.
and then you started focusing on career. And look at that, just a couple of months after you managed to land that job. It's great to see it visually right here.
Yeah, definitely. You can see at the very beginning of my GitHub, I have like a lonely, just one little square, which is
Yeah,
like, and that was because on the course I did previous, there was like a lesson on using GitHub.
yeah,
And that's all that's from. So, so it
yeah,
shows I learned from that.
yeah. It's amazing. I'm really glad to see that you're a prime example that what I personally and my team have tried to do with the masterclass, it really paid off.
Mhm.
The purpose was accomplished the second that you said your company used the same tech stack. The demo assignment they gave you was basically a simpler version of the projects we've been working on within the masterclass. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, how did the masterclass prepare you for the role you have right now? You told me kind of a couple of things already, but what do you think were some of the biggest things in which masterclass prepared you?
Yeah, I think there was many ways. I mean, the first of all is getting a feel for lots of different technologies, front end and back end technologies, and how to apply them, and more importantly, how to use them in the context of a full application. You know,
Mm,
that's really, I think that is the biggest thing, is because the masterclass is project based. It's, as you were saying, it's really mimicking what you're going to see in the real world. So it prepared for getting my bearings and being able to manage a full project, and getting used to that from the beginning all the way to deployment and fixing those, pesky deployment errors and things like that. So yeah, really prepared me well for that. And then on top of that, I would say it's the kind of the daily grind, the daily discipline, and the feedback as well. Because
mhm.
in the real world, I'm going to be getting a lot of feedback and a lot of criticism for what I'm doing. And, from the mentors in the masterclass, yeah, I was able to get a lot of feedback, and I was able to learn a lot from them.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it, as I say, I think it just because the aim is to follow, the aim is to mimic like a real world company. I think, yeah, it couldn't be a better preparation. I think had I tried to apply for jobs with the kind of learning I was doing before, now looking back, I can really realize how unprepared like I was and how overwhelmed I would have been. Like, I can't even imagine how those interviews would have gone. So
yeah. Well, if you don't look at yourself in the past and
Mhm.
laugh and be a
Yeah,
bit embarrassed, right?
yeah.
Then you didn't make progress.
I agree with that. Yeah. Mhm.
And looking at the cocktail project,
Mhm.
it might seem very simple now
Mhm.
to people that understand how to do it, what it entails. You can quickly create a README. You can quickly pull data from the API, do some lazy loading, image optimization. I've seen you did all of that. I noticed, right? I
Mhm.
even noticed how the image is first blurry and then it loads. I noticed all of those things that we've done within the masterclass.
Mhm. That's right.
Junior people wouldn't even notice that. They would try to display some things and make it just show up there. But you did all of that, and then I noticed, and
Mhm.
people notice, right?
Mhm.
If you don't know how to do it, it might take you weeks to
Mhm.
to get it done. If you can even get it done. Once you actually learn how to do it, go through it a couple of times and build other projects with the same tech, you can spin it up in a matter of days.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the repetition. That's why doing this project felt it felt quite easy to do, is because throughout the 6 months of the masterclass, it was so much repetition of these little patterns that it was just it just felt automatic. But as you say, yeah, if this was the very first time that I was introduced to this, a lot of these concepts, yeah, it would have probably been a very big learning curve. Yeah.
Exactly. And what did your family or friends think about this now that you can work like remotely from home all the time?
It's a relief. It's a big relief, put it that way, because coming in, when I made the decision to go into this industry, it was, I knew that I really had to go 100% all in. I always believed in myself that I could make it
Hmm.
happen, but until I'm actually seeing progress and getting job offers, and until that happens, it's a little bit. The past few months have been a little bit nerve wracking. I wouldn't lie. There's been little moments of doubt and things like that, but the main thing is I've always been trying, and really my goal was to when an opportunity does come along, then I'm going to be as prepared for it as possible, and I'm going to give my absolute all. And thankfully, this is the only interview that I've had, and thankfully, it couldn't have gone any better. So
That's amazing. I know that some people maybe don't have as much structure or guidance when it comes to creating a resume or projects or portfolio, need to go through hundreds. I've even heard thousands of applications, and then again, hundreds or thousands of rejections just to get a couple of interviews, out of which maybe one will be a successful one. But on top of the salary and the ability to work remotely from home, were there some other benefits that you're getting at the job?
Yeah, it's I've personally never worked in I've always been self-employed, so a lot of kind of perks which I'm getting are they feel very new to me. They feel very nice to me. So I'm getting 20 paid days off a year along with my birthday off.
Oh, that's huge.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
and then I'm also getting a laptop out of it that they're gonna give me, and then I'm also gonna get a few minor perks, things like a free gym membership. There's a scheme here in Bulgaria where companies can get a card for their employees, and they can use any gym for free. So we're going to get something like that. And then there's also things like meal vouchers that they're giving. So there's quite a few nice little perks as well. But to have paid time off is really nice. So I'm
20 paid days off a year is huge. That's not even debatable. That's amazing. Other stuff like, food vouchers and gym membership might seem like little things, but they do improve the quality of life, especially when you're working remotely. So you can just go to the gym and you just have one more reason to do so and improve your life on another level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's great. And you're officially starting tomorrow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Quite excited for you. And is there anything you want to say to anyone watching this that maybe is considering switching their careers or doing some remote work, or maybe they're on the fence about joining the masterclass?
Yeah, definitely. I would say if you're really committed to a career change and you really want to pursue something different, you want to change your lifestyle, and you think that going into tech is the way to go, I would say, definitely go for it. I think I was somebody who I felt like I had no background with computers. I hadn't used a computer for about 12 years before I started doing the masterclass. But I would say if you're committed to it, that the way I kind of see programming and learning to program, you do not have to be a genius to work with a computer, but it will be difficult. So if you're willing to really apply yourself for 6 months to a year and really improve every day and put in a lot of time, then it's 100% possible. And I would say the masterclass is definitely very superior over any previous courses or previous learning I've done. I don't think there'll be anything else which will prepare you for the real world any better than that. Because of the way it's structured, everything is like the repetition and the feedback. That's going to be that's going to resemble a real world company so well. I would say if you're really committed to a career change, I would say definitely go for it. This will be if you're willing to put in the time, this is the best way to go, in my opinion.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Once again, makes me very happy, and thank you for taking the time to meet with me today and share your thoughts.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and for anyone watching this, if you want to join the next cohort and basically work on the latest tech stack so you can prep for your assignment when your upcoming employer gives you one, and you want to get hired as soon as possible, you can click the link somewhere around this video to apply. I'll let you know if you're a good fit. Once again, Glenn, thank you so much for coming, and it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah, thank you. You too, Adrian. Thank you for everything.
Thank you.